There's a myth we often hear at the Postal Service. Don't worry, my dog won't bite. But given any circumstances, any dog can bite. We like to say even good dogs have bad days. Nationwide last year, 5,581 letter carriers were bitten while doing their performance of their duty. That pales in comparison to the 4.5 million Americans attacked every year. Small children, the elderly, and postal carriers, in that order, are the most frequent victims. The Postal Service has 3 really easy rules for responsible pet ownership. We ask that first you make sure that when a letter carrier comes to your door, you take the time to secure your dog in another room. We've seen instances where dogs have broken through screen doors and even broken through glass storm doors to get to the carrier who's now approached your porch. So take the time to secure your dog in another room. The second message is, please let your kids know that they shouldn't take the mail from the carrier. Let the carrier place the mail in your mailbox, because when we hand it to a child, the dog thinks that we're threatening that child. So just please relay that message to your children. And the third message is, if your dog is running loose and our carriers feel threatened, we may have to ask you to pick up your mail at the post office. If the dog is running through the neighborhood, you may even impact the delivery of your neighbors. So please make sure that you keep your dog restrained and on your property in a secure location and away from our carriers.
Every bite is a perfect storm. Dogs don't bite out of the blue. Dogs don't bite for no reason. There is always a reason to a dog bite, and it can be the perfect storm of circumstance or situation. And so if we can recognize the signs the dog is uncomfortable, nervous, fearful, then we can protect ourselves and we can protect our children. That's why education is so important. I have looked into the eyes of a parent who have lost its child. I have seen that child after it's been severely bitten by a dog. I've seen that child after it's been killed by a dog. And you don't want to look into a parent's eyes and have that parent look back at you and say, I didn't think my dog would ever do that. All right, so let's say you see a dog wagging its tail. Does that mean the dog is happy?
Not all the time.
And why? Why do sometimes dogs that aren't happy wag their tails?
Because it can be stressed and scared.
Yeah, so a wagging tail doesn't always necessarily mean that a dog is happy. Even recently, you've just seen on the news, there is another child gets attacked by a dog. And it's a regular occurrence. It's almost like we become desensitized to this. But you talk to that child, you see that child, the scars on that child's leg, or worse, that child's face, or you counsel the parents who've lost a child from a dog bite. It is an absolute tragedy. We can stop this issue by raising awareness about responsible pet ownership, about dog body language, what to do, what not to do. We can literally save a life, and it might sound dramatic, but it's absolutely true. This is reality. This is why this week is so important. Whether you own a dog or not, you or your child will be around a dog at some point in their lives, and you better know what to do.
The tragedy may be that we could prevent most of these if we had educated human beings. And when I talk about education, I really talk about using statistics and not stereotypes. We've averaged over the last 5 years about 3,700 claims. And we pay out a little over $100 million a year, so over the last 5 years that equates to just a bit over $500 million. So at State Farm, we will inquire, has your dog had a history of biting someone? But we don't look at breed. So there's no particular breed that we've seen from our actual numbers that have a correlation to your propensity to bite.
The body language that dogs exhibit and the body language that we exhibit to them and to which they react, they're really different languages. And we need to get the word out there about communication and why it's important to recognize when dogs are reluctant to interact. There are behaviors before bites, and people do need to know who their dogs are. Dog Bite Prevention Week is important because dog bites continue to be a problem. They are, unfortunately, almost a universal problem. Aggression is the most common behavior issue that I'm called about as a veterinary behaviorist, and I'm not talking about necessarily dangerous dogs in yards or anything that would be stereotypical, but just family pets. And as long as bites continue, especially to children, we need to keep working hard to prevent them.
There's an estimated 4.5 million people that suffer from animal bites across the country every year, and astonishingly, more than half of those bites are to children. Dog bites can be prevented in many, many cases, and that's why Dog Bite Prevention Week is so vitally important, because we have to get the message out there. We have to build awareness, and we have to promote good strategies to prevent these unfortunate incidents from occurring, which affect victims all over the country, our children, our animals, and the general public.
When I was 7 years old, I was attacked by my neighbor's dog. I walked up on the dog's driveway and put my hand out like this. The dog jumped on me and bit me right here in the face. You curl up your hand in a fist, put it to your side, and let the dog come to you and sniff your hand first. This is showing that the dog is showing interest in you and that the dog wants you to pet them. Good. And the T stands for touch. You pet the dog on the back the way the fur grows.
Through our research, we learned that children tend to treat dogs like their friends. They like to get down on their level. They put their face close to the dog's face. They look them directly in the eye and give them hugs, all things that can be potentially dangerous. With Prevent the Bite, we teach children to understand and respect the difference between dogs and people. They learn responsible dog ownership, simple safety techniques, and canine body language tips.
We also have some other safety techniques showing canine body language.
Because usually when he was delivering mail to his house, he could hear it snarling and growling at him as he delivered through the mail slot.